Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, and this might be a series of videos, we're going to talk about like the perils of being successful and probably why you need to be mentally prepared. Um, and it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you'll receive hate. Now, here's the thing. Once upon a time, I used to be very broke and struggling, right? And it was kind of my fault, but it kind of wasn't. I feel like one of the biggest mistakes I ever made was just believing people about their advice of what I should do with my life. And then when it went to a disaster, they end up blaming me. So blame the victim. Thanks, society. But from a series of poor choices, I was broke for a good number of years of my adult life, right? So I made $20,000 for like about 3 years. And if you look at the federal guidelines, whatever, I think that's poverty level or a little bit above it, or it might even be below it. I don't know, because I don't. It's a little bit too painful to think about. But I just kind of remember where I thought, like, if I do make it, then I certainly want to be in a position to help others. Right? Seems reasonable. Like, if you ever see people on stage where like they give those TED talks or whatever, they would say, "Oh, I've started this business or whatever to help other women or minorities or people who are struggling or whatever." And so as a person who was struggling, I was just thinking like, okay, well, I do want to help other people. And then it's not what you expect that you think it would be, right? Um, a lot of people throw hate and shade your way. And, it's kind of a sad society that we live in, right? So when you're at the bottom, right? Let's say you're flat broke and poor, people kind of use that as an excuse to treat you bad, right? And you see this everywhere. Like you go to your, let's say I go work at Walmart, your typical retail store, or anything that's considered quote a low status job. Um, you know, will come out of the woodwork and just kind of make you feel like you're an idiot for working that job. It's like, well, someone's got to do it, right? But people don't think that way. They just see an excuse to treat others poorly. Now, here's the other side of the coin. Here's what's really screwed up. Once you become like, you're on your way to become successful, people can see that they're not stupid, right? People can see people with potential, and they might actually see your potential more than you do. And so that's when hate and shade is going to come your way, right? And then you'll be like, well, what's going on here? Because people are throwing shade at me for, let's say, working at a supermarket or something, and now I'm trying to better myself, and I'm getting hate for that. And then once you do become successful, this is kind of like the screwed up part. One of the reasons why you became successful is because you wanted to help people who were in your position. Now you're getting hate from that person because they thought, see, the new person who is struggling and broke, who sees you, thinks you've always been like that. You've always been like that. Isn't that screwed up? And so now you're at a point where it's like, okay, well, no point in helping other people now because no matter what I do, I'm going to get hate. Like we kind of live in this crazy hate-filled society. No matter what you do, whether you're poor, you're rising up, or you're actually rich, people will find a way to hate on you, and it's very hard to kind of make friends. In fact, you know, I listen to this podcast, and the speaker always says like, her grandma told her that if you come to this life with just one genuine friend, around at the end of your life, then you're better off than 99% of people, right? And it's kind of sad that's kind of the state of the world. And so it's like, okay, if you become successful, there's going to be a point where you just probably don't want to deal with anybody and want to hide, right? um, that's why I found this video. I'm taking a screenshot about from Grant Cardone. I'm not actually a big fan of his, but to be honest, but I get it. When he talks about why successful people hide, it's just like I kind of feel that way too. In fact, that's probably why I don't show the face on the YouTube channel. Well, actually, there's two reasons. One, I want to create a brand that's not dependent on me. So eventually, I do want to kind of give this up, not give this like give it up, but more like pass it on and have someone else come in and just kind of make the videos where I just plant the seeds, um, right? But the other thing is, I don't want anybody hating on me because I just want to hide and enjoy the fruits of my success. Because every time I help other people, it doesn't come. the way that I want. Now, here's the thing. That's not totally true in every instance of my life, right? So when I created this huge channel and I had two students come into the group, they've been fantastic, right? And I think a lot of it is also having a good filtering mechanism. Kind of like if you own a rental property, you want to have like a good filtering mechanism for bad tenants. And most of the tenants are pretty, like, in my opinion, prospect tenant pool is pretty bad, right? But if you get a good tenant, because here's the thing, how many good tenants do you really need in a rental house? You only need one, right? So if you have 100 applicants, only one is good, and that one tenant just lives in your house for a long time, yeah, it's kind of sad that the other 99 applicants sucked, but you got one good tenant, right? And it's the same thing with, this mentorship group. I honestly don't care if nobody really joins. And if anybody does, that's awesome. But we got two students and I'm like really excited because they've been so good. They've been awesome students. Like I have no complaints about them. They just learn really quickly. But yeah, but for the most part, previously when I didn't have a filter and I'm just helping any old Joe Schmo, I'm just like, oh my goodness, what is this? Like these people are so ungrateful, right? And it just makes you want to hide. And again, that's the reason I just don't show my face, just because um, I don't want people really hating on me and figuring out who I am. Now, here's the funny thing: I had one person figure out who I am who I haven't talked to in a while. I'm not throwing shade at him or anything. I'm just saying people will figure out who you are anyways, right? And he text messaged me. He's like, "Hey, is this you? Is this your YouTube channel?" I'm like, dang, how'd you know? I only started a month ago, but people will find out, right? So eventually they will. But I just like to hide, just at this stage of my life. But once upon a time, I did have empathy for other people and did want to help them. And now it's just more like I have to be a lot more methodical in who I help, because if I help way too many people, I know I'm going to be burned out, right? Okay, so this is Korean Atlanta mentorship. I'll probably kind of make another video on this, I think, next time. Maybe play some other clips of videos that I found that you probably can't even find on the internet anymore, but I kind of kept because there's always videos that I saw that like inspired me or kind of influenced the way I think, that I actually download onto my computer, but I don't know if they're on YouTube anymore. I might just play that. Okay, so if you're interested in joining our group, go ahead and click the Google form link below. We'll be in touch on a one-on-one Zoom call, and we will speak next time.